We are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and this video is a complement to the previous videos we just uploaded about what human genomics can tell us about Adam and Eve in 4 parts, 1A to 1D, and it in full, with and without the added narration, source links, etc. Because we would like to make a comparison between the human genomics and what this father Nicanor Austracio OP says about the human genomes in relation to the Neanderthal, the hominid, the hominin, hominoid, etc. human beings that came after. Because, well, we'll listen to this video first. The information on here.
The Neanderthal Admixture coming out of Turkey. There is evidence for interbreeding between archaic and modern humans during the Middle Paleolithic and early Upper Paleolithic. The interbreeding happened in several independent events that included Neanderthals and hominoids, or human beings. Okay. So genetic evidence for early Homo sapiens admixture to Neanderthals in West Asia discovered in 2017. So that would verify what was found in the original ancient or very old manuscripts, Old Testament manuscripts in the sacred scribal old tongue or language, Lishana Artica Sabrea, or the language that God spoke to Adam and Eve and to the men at the Tower of Babel. Of the Assyrian Aramaic or Aramaic, or from the Tav Asherit or Asheri, which is supposedly the older sister language of the Tav Ivri or the original ancient very old Hebrew.
Okay, that's information there from online stating there's genetic evidence for early Homo sapiens admixture or interbreeding with Neanderthals in West Asia, and that was discovered in 2017. If you remember the verse about Genesis, in Genesis, where the children of God, you probably find in your Americanized modern English Bible versions, your translations that'll say sons of God. This was Seth's descendants who began to call on the name of God. Okay. Or those who are called children of God, who left their rightful place, the presence of God, and so forth. We can look at the second video, or part D. Okay, see what that says. To hear it from this Catholic reverend or priest's own mouth.
Mutually compatible. And this spirited debate has received much attention on the radio and in various newspapers. Polygenism is the view that not all human persons can be traced back to one historical man, Adam, and one historical woman, Eve. Many believers hold that polygenism is not fully compatible with Christian doctrine. Nevertheless, more than a few professional scientists, including believing scientists, hold that the available evidence strongly favors polygenism. For many Christians, a matter of fundamental importance, an issue having deep theological implications. Is this a case of real conflict between Christian faith and scientific reason? Or is there a way to overcome what many perceive to be a real conflict between human science and divine revelation? Our guest.
So what it sounds like you're saying, sorry, it's a bit muffled, and there's a bit of noise on his part from the recording, where he fumbles around with the microphone or whatever. It couldn't be helped. But what he's talking about is polygenism, and how the Christian theology, Christians and some don't like the idea or deny that there was a pre-Adamic being, i.e. the Neanderthals, and they interacted or intermarried, interbred with these pre-Adamic creations, the Neanderthals, who were in that land of Nod, etc., and had offspring, but they were like hybrids, giants, freaks, strange looking creatures, possibly because their genetics were too close. God created these Neanderthals, right? But they had the breath of life, so they went from being animate to inanimate living beings, but they didn't have that Holy Spirit, that connects them with God, so they could be in the presence of God, have communion with God, walk and talk with God, etc. Right? And when Adam and Eve fell, well, they knew good and bad, or sin, right? The effects of sin, etc., etc., according to Genesis. And these pre-Adamic Neanderthals ended up in the land of Nod. So they wandered off, even though the Bible doesn't tell you that. He says, go forth and multiply, increase, eat all the vegetables, the fruit, etc., etc. So, like many of these beings or individuals throughout that Genesis 1 to 5, let's say, they all seem to move eastward all the time, right? You don't hear of them or read of them going west or going north or south, okay? Because they're in one spot, in a location. If they had gone north or south, they probably would have come to the ocean. So they had a path that they were more or less directed to follow, because of those 4 tributary rivers coming from out of paradise, or the Garden of Eden. Yeah, so we'll have a look at that. Okay, you can go to this website here and listen to it yourself in your own time. It's probably a better version than what we've got here. Okay, so we're going to look at the Breetah. This is we're going to go look at the Breetah in the Aramaic, or Genesis in English, translated from the original Old Testament sacred scribal Old Tongue or Old Language into English by the native-born Aramaic-speaking translator Victor N. Alexander, or Victor Nimrod Alexander, from Bet Naharain, Mesopotamia in Syria. He came across a method to translate this very old, the original ancient, very old, dead language. This is the Lishon Atika Saprea, of which God spoke to Adam and Eve, and then the men at Babel building the tower. That's the one language they had, that they communicated with each other, okay, until God confused them by giving them multitudes of languages and scattering them. Okay, so Victor N. Alexander found a way to translate this old, dead, unused language, and he translated it into the nearest English equivalent. This could often prove difficult because some words, like muta, don't have an English equivalent, so you have to go run around and try and find a word that befits what it what it is in that original language, while staying as close to what those original scriptures were saying or are saying, without adding prejudice, bias, twisting it, adding its own flavour, as he found that most, if not all, the translators did, like George A. Lamson left out the Trinity or the Triunity, and so forth. So let's have a look at that. Here we are at Breetah, or Genesis, and we have here the Creation Act, but what we're trying to get at is, after God does all this creative act and he makes trees, herds and four-legged animals and creatures of the earth according to their kind, etc., etc., he decides, we shall make the human being in the image of our likeness, and they shall have authority over the fish of the sea, birds of the sky, and herds, etc., etc., that walk on the earth. And God created the human being to resemble, it has a footnote indication there, an asterisk, his own visage. He created them, male and female. So that means that there's two or more. Obviously male and female, but there could have been more than two. So here it's indicating he's created both sexes, both genders, male and female. And God blessed them, the two or more, and said to them, the two or more, multiply and increase and fill the earth and its environment, and have authority over the fish in the sea and the birds of the sky and four-legged animals and the creatures that crawl over the earth. And God said, behold, or take note, look, pay attention, I give you every plant with seeds that are sown on the face of all the earth, and every fruit, blah, 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 as a source of food. And I give you all the creatures of the wilderness and all the birds of the sky and everything that walks the earth that has a living soul, and all the herds as a source for food. It's a source as a source for food. Okay? They weren't to eat them. Okay? Source for food means, like, they got byproducts. You pull the teats, a certain way, and you get milk, and you turn the milk into cheese or curd or whatever, the recipe of the day. Butter, cream, whatever. Yeah. And it was so that's what they did, right? And God saw all that he created and says, look, or he was, amazed, because it was truly beautiful. Okay? And that was the evening and the morning of the sixth eon. And it's not saying it's a 6-day creation period as you have in your Americanized modern English Bible translations. And Christians go pushing, God did it. Literally, he did all in 6 days. Even the Jewish versions say that as well. And they're supposed to be from the original Hebrew, etc., which is a sister language, the original, ancient, very old sister language of the Aramaic. Okay, once upon a time, they had the same words and the same meanings. Okay, but somewhere along the way, it was modified. They added vowels, which changed the structure, not only the structure of that language, but also the meaning of the words. So now you have the same words but different meanings, as in Elohim, Elohim. Notice the N spelling, and Elohim in the Hebrew, Elohim. They both have two completely different meanings. One is in relation to the ancient Mesopotamian, original, very old winged disc icon, and the triune, Elohim, over the flames, and the Hebrew Elohim, which could be the God or the gods. Okay, so it's different. So here's a footnote here, and here's the footnotes below. Okay, we've been over this before in other videos. Here is the footnote. Genesis 1:5-3, literal Aramaic word, Euma, which means eon, immeasurable period, age or day. it's a completely different day to the day that we are familiar with today, right? And that's why it has a capital D. It's the Creator's Day. In the Hebrew, it would probably be different as well. Okay, it's not a literal day. It's an eon, an immeasurable period or unfathomable period, because no man was created. What man was there to see the works of God in his creating process? No one, right? We can't put a point on exactly, like you can't say, well, he started on May the 25th, around about 6 o'clock, 4000 BC, and he finished Christmas time about 9 o'clock at night, and all this sort of rubbish. Yeah, you can't do that, right? You don't know when, so it's unfathomable, it's immeasurable, right? Because time it's not as we knew it, it was infinite time and space, etc., etc. So he took his time. Not that he did anything wrong, but he's the creator, he just takes his time, right? He's got no rush. Okay. 127.2, Genesis 127.2, literal Aramaic idiomatic construction. Because this is idiomatic, it's the expression, Eastern mindset, etc., etc., the way they put it across, what it actually means. It's to do with their mindset, right? Eastern mindset. And they created God to Adam his visage. In the visage of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. That's coming from the original language, exactly as it was written, right? That's why it might be, doesn't make sense, right? It's not a reconstructed, corrected, grammatically correct sentence, okay? This is what happens when you translate from an original language or a language. It doesn't come out in a perfect sentence, you have to restructure it. Okay, so 128, literal Aramaic idiom, God created the Aboriginal man first, the Neanderthal man, or the Pre-Adamic man. Okay, and down here is a note, 130 in B, predominantly as a source for food, seldom, not very often, to be sacrificed or eaten. Okay, so yeah, they were all vegetarians. They ate, I wouldn't say they were fruitarians, but yeah, vegetarians, because they ate the fruit off the trees, probably the herbs, the vegetation, and just use the herds as a source for food. They probably got sheep, cows, goats, etc., and they just pull the teats, etc., as you do today as a farmer, and get milk, and you turn it into cheese, cream, butter, whatever, right? We don't know, we weren't there, okay? So we don't know what Adam and Eve or whoever was using it for, or creating out of it, right? Okay. So then we jump to, so that verifies there with what that Catholic priest was saying about polygenetics and the Christians not accepting that God created pre-Adamic being before Adam. Okay, there is it there in this original ancient Old Testament language, translated in English by a native-born Aramaic speaking translator, okay, which verifies what this reverend has stated, okay, and what this information has here, that genetic evidence for early Homo sapiens admixture to Neanderthals, so they interbreed with them, right, had offspring in West Asia, discovered in 2017. So we're going to look further. This is Genesis 5:8, or Breetah 5:8, and this is the lineage of Adam. No, Adam didn't live to be 930. It's talking about his lineage, and it goes all the way down here. And here it doesn't say that God took Enoch up in a chariot, fiery chariot, and he went into a spaceship and went into the seven heavens, all that sort of stuff. Okay, it has no hint of that here. It just says he was born, he lived, his lineage was so long, and he did his duty to God. Enoch praised God for his duty, for which God had consecrated him or blessed him, purposely made him for. possibly. Okay, he goes on about Noah and prior to the flood. Genesis 6, which is Breetah, the Hebrew version of the Epic of Gilgamesh. And it states, and while human beings began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born to them. Because you had the line of Seth. Before this, let's go back. Okay, further down here, somewhere. Here we go. Genesis 4, 25. Adam did the bang, bang, bang with his wife Eve again, and she became pregnant. She became pregnant and gave birth, and she called his name Seth, because God gave her another offspring in place of Abel, who was killed by Cain. And here's the meaning of Cain, Cain, gain, which is probably derived from the Aramaic, because you got a son from God, so she named Cain. Cain, 421, literal Aramaic, Havel, Abel. Ironically, it's probably where the word Abel, A-B-L-E, came from. And Havilah, modern Kuwait, that's probably where Cain killed him and buried him, right, in that area. Okay. Where are we? Okay. 426, and to Seth, that's the replacement for Abel that Cain killed, replacement son. And to Seth also was born a son, and he called his name Enosh. Thereafter, sometime after that, those descendants were called after the name of the Lord. In the footnotes here, 426, the beginning of the line of the children of the Lord, or the children of God. That were the ones that believed in God, right? Yeah. They're in His presence, committed to Him, etc., etc., walking and talking in the Spirit. But at some point, they left their rightful place because, they abandoned God, they turned their backs on God, right? Because while human beings began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born to them. This is the unholy line, Cain's line. Okay, remember, he went into the land of Nod, found himself a wife. No, he didn't have a sister. It doesn't say in these scriptures that, like the Gnostic version, that a female was attached to his leg as it was to Abel's, right? And he had the hots for her, so he kills Abel, so he can possess that one. No, that's all Gnostic dreaming, right? From the lost book of Adam and Eve, part 2, or book 2. Okay, it's an unholy line, right? They had no fellowship with God, etc., etc. Okay, the sons of God. This is these children of God, right? It's not the angels, because angels don't have genitals, right? Okay, they weren't created to breed; they were created to do God's bidding. Okay, if He says go there, they'd go there. Say this, they'd say this. Pass it on to this person, etc., etc. That's what they would do. That's what they were created for, and to worship Him and all that, day and night, whatever it says in the scriptures. Okay, so the sons of God, or the children of God, not fallen angels or any other rubbish, right? Because the fallen angels, the ones that got convinced by Satan in scripture, were cast down, yes, to the earth, but into the netherworld, and they're chained there until the day of judgment. So stop telling all this other Gnostic rubbish about watches and all this other crap, right? Unless you can verify that it actually says watches, etc., in the further on, right? In the Old Testament or the New Testament or whatever. We do believe that someone said that there is these verses indicating it. Would have to be told where exactly is it, so we have a look at it and verify whether it's a Gnostic fantasies, or actual scripture from the Old Testament, like Lilith. Okay, that's actually still in the Aramaic and the Hebrew, but it's not really found in the New Testament, right? The Americanized English Bible versions, translations. Okay. Okay, so these children of God, or sons of God, saw that the daughters of men, of human beings, okay, were beautiful, and so they picked for themselves women whomever they pleased. They had the hots for them. And the Lord said, well, my spirit does not reside in the human being forever. It's not going to last forever, right? Because he is flesh. And his lifespan became 120 years. Here it's become flesh because he's dropped his spiritual side and he's gone to the physical. He's lusted, he's desired, you know. He wants this, he wants to get it on, yeah? Whatever, right? And his lifespan became 120 years. That's how many years he had left before something big was going to come down, right? The wrath of God upon them, right? Because they went evil, totally evil, right? More evil than Hitler, more evil than Idi Amin Dada, Charles Manson, all of them put together. And they were giants in the earth in those ages. Okay, these are the descendants of these of the interaction between the children of God, or sons of God, and the daughters of men, the unholy line. In the earth in those ages, and even later, because the sons of God, or the children of God, you know, had intercourse, whatever, and produced offspring with the daughters of men. Okay, and there was born to them aliens who were giants of universal fame. And it's not E.T. or Meathead or a Vulcan or anything like that. You know, not little green men, etc., etc., who were giants of universal fame. They were famous. They were known. Okay, because of what they did. And the Lord saw that men's evil was spread on the earth, and every dissipation of their hearts' excuses became worse with every age. So over those eras, they just got worse and worse and worse and worse. They were sick, depraved, etc., etc. Try and imagine how sick it was, where everyone was doing whatever. It's pretty close to that. These days, it's going to end up like that, if it returns back to the days of Noah, where everybody just does everything, anything and everything. Okay, everyone will have, all these sickos will have the rights. Okay, who's going to stop them? They'll be out there doing it. Like, oh, that's the norm. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, there's many claims that so and so and so and so wanted to change the law and allow these certain sickos to run loose. Like if you try to stop them, you're breaking their rights. You're breaching their rights and all this sort of stuff. And then they try to get into a certain group, but that certain group, whew, thank goodness for them, right? They says, no, we don't want them in our group, you know. Yeah, yuck. Yeah, so that a lot of them went against it, right? And the Lord said, I will wipe out the men I have created from the face of the earth, from the human beings to the four-legged animals, from the crawlers to the birds of the sky, because I regret having created them. But yeah, it saddened him that he created these beings and had gone like that. And Noah found mercy in the eyes of the Lord, him, his wife, 3 sons and their wives, okay, who were probably pregnant at the time, okay. And then it goes on about Noah, Shem, Cam, and Japheth, what his name is, Japheth, how you say it, okay. And then the flood comes later on, which killed all those evil abominations, yeah. Because the Lord said, all flesh has gone mad, it has gone insane, because the earth has been filled by abomination, or detestable evil, right, before them. Look, God says, look, I will abandon them to their madness. You just leave them to the insanity, right, their madness. But he tells Noah, build this ark, etc., etc. He's going to destroy them all, but because he's righteous, etc., him, his wife, and his 3 sons and their wives, they'd survive, right? So he says, make an ark, etc., etc., which actually was a coracle. It was round, not a watermelon shape or a submarine, sushi submarine and all that sort of stuff. Okay, we've already done videos on that. It's on that playlist with what's his name, Irving Finkel, who took the cuneiform text, translated the Babylonian cuneiform text, had a plan on there by this god Anu or something like that, because the gods were angry with these creatures they had made, and you want to destroy them, like to hit the polar ice caps, and then shoot off into outer space, and just leave it, I guess, and never return. But this god, apparently, of a pantheon, felt sorry for them, so says, here, build this ark, with this coracle, hop in it and survive on, So that's basically it, right? Here it is here, Neanderthals. We've already done one on Victor N. Alexander's theory of the Aborigine in relation to the Neanderthals. All the information there, that they are souls, but they don't have that Holy Spirit. They're just a animate, living soul. Okay? So they basically follow their animal instincts. And we are hybrid forms. Human beings, modern human beings today are hybrid forms. We have Neanderthal blood running through us, even though they were completely bred out by humanoids, hominids, etc., human beings. Okay? So that was a pre-Adamic man, or Adam, or being. Okay? Because if you don't believe us, you have Genesis. There's 2 accounts. Okay? You have the Q, Jesus of Friend Society, the book Q, which says there's S, D, E, P, whatever in the margins. That means like evangelist, scribe, priest, etc., etc. Right? Okay, but here is the much older original ancient manuscript in that old tongue, 800 BCE, copied by hand by scribes, monks in Ur-Edessa. Here. So he's got the first account. God created a human being to resemble his own visage. He created the male and female. What's the word resemble mean? To look like. To appear to look like, right? Or to have similar features to God. Okay? To resemble his own visage. What's visage? Look it up. It means face. He created them. God created them. 2 or more. 2 sexes, male and female. 2 genders. Okay? He probably created more than 2. And he tells them, he blesses them, tells them multiply, etc., etc. Eat this, look after the animals, whatever, and go forth and multiply. So they probably eventually wandered off towards the east, and we're the ones in the land of Nod. Still don't believe us? Okay, where's Cain? Cain kills. I'll go back, sorry. Cain kills Abel, and he says, I can't handle that, I'm out of your presence, let alone, killed my brother, but please don't send me into that land, because there's other people there. If someone else is there and they find me, here you go. Henceforth you are cursed by the earth that opens its mouth and receive the blood of your brother from hands, because he killed him, right? And Cain says, my errors are too great to be forgiven. But look, you have removed me in this age, or this era, this eon, right, from this face of the earth, and I will lie hidden from your presence. He's got no, God knows where he is, but he just doesn't have that spiritual, holy communion with God. He can't be in his presence because he's a sinner, all that sort of stuff. And I am a wanderer and a nomad on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. Hang on, hold up. Christianity tells you there was only Adam and Eve. Cain and Abel. Cain kills Abel, nobody else. Here it says he'll be a wanderer in the land of Nod, obviously, in your Americanized modern Bible versions. I'll be a wanderer and a nomad. It's a desert region wanderer who lives in tents, etc. No, it's not a Muslim, and it's like Arab in a different sense, right? One who roams the desert regions. And whoever finds me, Cain, will kill me. And the Lord told him, it will not be so. Whoever kills Cain will pay 7-fold. And the Lord consecrated a sign upon Cain that anyone who finds him should not kill him. Look at your scriptures. It's not his brothers and sisters that were born while he's talking to God. Okay? There's got to be more than Cain, Abel, and Adam and Eve. And they hadn't had daughters, sons and daughters yet. Okay, until he leaves. See? Here it is here. And Cain left the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of the nomads, the land of wandering, or Nod, east of Eden. Okay? And here it says, and Cain took a wife. It doesn't say, it's not saying he took a wife, one of his sisters, born through Eve, right? He took a wife when he got into that land. He grabbed himself a wife, and then she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. And Cain started a village and called it after his son Enoch. And to Enoch was born Irad, and Irad was born Mahu'el. So that's the one that everyone says, oh, he was, the watcher and all this sort of stuff. God took him in a fiery chariot up into the heavens. He didn't die and all that sort of stuff. That's what it's saying here. I'm not too sure if he's translated it wrong. It's supposed to be Enosh, but he's put gave birth to Enoch. Okay, and then to Enoch was born offspring Irad, and to Irad was born Mahujael, and to Mahujael was born Metushael, and to Metushael was born Lamech. This is the first beget. He had two wives, right? Lamech took two women, and the name of the first was Ada, and the name of the other one was Salah. And Ada gave birth to Jabal, gave him a son, whatever. And he was the father of those who lived in tents and herded cattle, nomads, right? Wanderers of desert regions, and they had goats, sheep and all that sort of stuff. And the name of his brother was Jubal, and he was the father of all those who took up the guitar and the horn. So they were musos, right? They played in a band. And Salah also gave birth to Tubal-Cain, my band, and Tubal-Cain's sister Naima. And Lamech said to his woman Ada and Salah, listen to my voice, woman of Lamech, heed my sayings. Listen up, wenches, for I have killed a husband in my bigamy, and a young boy in my lechery. So, him being a two-woman man, right, having two wives, he's killed a husband in his bigamy. What's the Lost Book of Adam Part 2 or something? Adam and Eve Part 2. Goes hunting and he shot an arrow and he kills Cain. But he deliberately kills a younger boy or lad in his lechery, in his treachery, right? His wickedness. Because he obviously wanted one of these women and he had her, so he wanted to possess her, right? So he kills that guy off. Okay, so for Cain is repaid, because he's killed Cain, possibly by accident, his grandfather, something like that, in vengeance. Yeah. Killed Cain in vengeance. Okay, so he killed. Okay, for Cain is repaid in vengeance, so that's a consequence. It's a payback, right? For whoever killed him, sevenfold or 7 times 70, and Lamech, or 70, right? And Lamech 70 times 7. So if anyone kills him, see, Cain gets killed. This is his punishment. He comes back on him 70 times. But if someone kills Lamech, it'll come back on him 70 times 7. So that's Lamech uttering a curse of consequence. And Adam took his wife Eve again. See, now he jumped her, right? He didn't jump her while Cain was talking to God, or this here, right, in between here. And she became pregnant and gave birth, and she called his name Seth, because God gave her another offspring in place of Abel, who killed Cain, who was killed by Cain. And to Seth was born a son, and he called his name Enosh. Thereafter they were called after the name of the Lord, or children of the Lord. Yeah. 426, the beginning of the line of the children of the Lord. Yeah. Hence the scripture that, I think it might be in 1 John, I can't remember the actual verse, but we'll find it. But yeah, if you are born of the seed of God, okay, through His grace and mercy you're forgiven, die to your old self, etc., and you become one with God, then you are deemed seed, the children of God. Okay, but if you sin, it says you can't sin, being children of God, because that seed's been planted in you. If you do sin, then you are not of God. God is not of you. You have no part in Him. He has no part in you. And that differentiates the children of the Lord, those born of God. with the children of the devil. Okay? So there are the key tools there, and the scriptural statements, i.e. those biblical scriptural facts. Okay? So hopefully this opened your eyes to who the Neanderthal actually were, that there was a pre-Adamic being created before Adam and Eve, and you were possibly like there's possibly a mitochondrial Eve and plenty of other Eves, but they couldn't have children. Maybe they died off. It's all in that Catholic priest's lecture on human genomes, etc. So if you liked it and open up your eyes to what's really written in the original ancient, very old manuscripts in the sacred scribal old tongue, Lishana Supreya, that which God spoke to Adam and Eve, and also to the men of the Tower of Babel used. That one language, there was that one language that they used to communicate with each other until God confused them or baffled them. They couldn't understand each other when God came down and gave them multiple languages according to the Breetah or the book of Genesis. Then subscribe to our channel, give us a like, add your comments, and share this video with all your family, friends, neighbours and others.